Okay, thank you everyone for joining. We're beginning now. So we're going to have once again our meetup, and we're going to be announcing some of the latest releases and also some updates to Karamba over the last, say, few months. We will be posting links to a lot of the features that we're sharing with you today, and there'll be a couple of live demos as well. I will share my screen. Is my screen visible now? Perfect. So thank you, everyone. So we will have a, let's say, 15-20 minute short demo, and at the end, there'll be also the opportunity for any questions for anyone who might have. First, we would start off with some of the new resources that we've released over the last few months. You might have seen this already in our newsletters or on our social media pages. There have been 2 new tidbits videos that we've recorded and released, showing some of the new features. For example, the key listener. Take a look at this video on our tutorial website, as well as the calculation report. Sara will be talking a bit more in detail because we've actually done some new updates on this and we'll be showing you how you can actually set up a skill with any AI agent on how to actually generate a calculation report. Next, we have been publishing some much more advanced examples, this time with the support of Dragos, who was actually in our previous meetup last year in May as well. We've been releasing a couple of examples which work with application of wind loads according to Eurocode. In this case, it's a simple roof canopy. We will be releasing a series of tidbits to basically go through these examples. So watch out basically on our website for our tidbits coming very soon. But you can already download this example, and essentially you can apply the same Windows application to your own projects. It's written as a C# code. We will be releasing more information about that, as I mentioned in our tidbit videos. Next, this has just been published, I think yesterday. It's Steel Tower with also a Eurocode WIM application. And of course, as we release these, we'll also be releasing tidbit videos to basically explain how the procedure of applying the Eurocode to these type of structures is actually implemented. And this will be coming in the next couple of months as well. So take a look at this example to see how you can create this parametric first tower, and then we'll also be releasing a case study on this, on how we actually set up the entire structure and also some of the assumptions that were made on the structure. Currently, work in progress is actually we're trying to implement the same Eurocode window load application on, let's say, dome or sort of roof structures. So in this case, we're investigating industrial hall structure, and we're applying also the wind applications here. And now we want to jump into a new release. We released this last week. It's now available on the package manager. And today we'll just go through quickly some of the new and exciting features of the new release. One of this is the curve intersection component. Now this basically takes curves as input that you can intersect or use them to intersect other elements and not just lines. And we'll be actually developing this to maybe also have other geometry to use them as cutting elements as well. The support agent is a new very, very handy agent that allows you to basically apply supports by inputting various amounts of or various types of different geometry inputs, also using element IDs, a much easier way to intelligently create your supports in Karamba. So take a look, for example, in a manual if you'd like to have a look at this component. There's been some slight adaptations to the mesh loads on beams. For example, here where we are able to actually now control the amount of line loads that are applied per element. Take a look at this link. Sarah will be posting this also in the chat. And this basically allows you to have a bit more control of how wind loads are applied onto different types of elements and how many types of line loads you're generating. And for example, here you can see at the top, you start to create this sort of gradient of the loads depending on the mesh input. A handy new feature is this hierarchical IDs. By using, for example, a point in your ID, element IDs, you can actually give them different hierarchy. And this is great when you want to apply, for example, different types of properties, or for example, if you want to filter out different types of elements. In this case, for example, we're using them to filter out different types of elements, and you can actually have different hierarchies based on them. And this example will be, or the application of hierarchical IDs is applied in this steel tower example, which we've just released. So if you want to have a look at that, take a look at this as well. We've also now released the E2K, basically the ETABS exporter that allows you to export your Karamba model directly into a E2K file format and import it into ETABS. Currently, what's supported is, for example, all the stories, the actual elements, cross sections, materials, as well as loads and load cases that you can see here. And we'll be continuously improving this in the future to also look at eccentricities and joints as well. So take a look at this our manual if you want to test this out, and let us know if you find out that there are any problems or issues with the ETABS exporter. And now I want to give the screen to Sara, where she'll be showing us a live demo of this calculation report skill.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sara. So we developed this skill for calculation report to help users generate their syntax. So I'm going to share my screen now at the moment. Does everybody see it? Yeah. You can find the file, which is a helper file, the skill file, in our manual. And the key to basically using it is you create a project on your AI tool of choice. I will be using Claude, but it works also on ChatGPT and Gemini and the others. So what we should do is essentially just download the skill, and then we create a new project. And then we simply upload the file as a project file. And then I'm going to start just from like very basic, from a very basic setup and kind of like work out. So let's say I just want to export the beam displacements. Oops. And then thinking a little bit. The first, it's going to ask certain sets of questions based on what you want to export. So of course, you can add all of the information on its own, and it will output the end setup. But for this purpose, I'm just starting with no information at all. So initially, it's going to ask if we want to use the short or the long format. I'm going to just say short. And then it will use this format for the rest of the generations in this chat. So of course we will need like the IDs, load cases, positions, and I'm just going to say I want the IDs for main beams, and then LC1. For the displacements, we can keep either the default positions, 0, 0.5, or 1, or we can also ask for custom positions. But for this purpose, I'll just keep the basic ones. And then it also outputs a worksheet suggestion, which you can choose whether you want to keep it default or write a custom one. And I'll say keep default for both. Yeah. Exactly, and then it will output a ready-to-paste string, which you can copy and then add it to a panel in your select input of the component. It also sets up like a list of reminders with things that you need to do, and then it's also able to answer certain questions about the report tool, which you may ask it. But I think for now, this is enough. Yeah.
Thank you, Sara.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you want to get more information about the calculation report, follow the link that's also shared in the chat.
Okay, then I think it's my turn to show some, this cross-section checker, which we worked on for the past several weeks. I'll quickly share my screen here. Do you see my screen? I hope so. This is basically a frame with two stories. Here you can see the setup. And what we wanted to achieve with this new code checkers is to be able to include different types of building codes. Up to now, the steel design was only done according to Eurocode 3, which was hard-coded inside the optimized cross-section component. But now we are able to, first of all, supply different types of code checkers. So not only Eurocode 3, but only the American standard for steel structures, Japanese, which will come later. And then also things like a general stress checker for beams. It works like this, that you can provide these checkers at the assemble model component. You can specify here which load case they shall be based on which elements they should work, and then also specificities according to the code. And it's possible to assign more than one of these code checkers to one element. The idea is that there's a simple checker first, which does the rough work, so to say. So when this check is passed, then also the more complicated checks will pass. And in this way, it's possible to set up a hierarchy of checks. What I did here now is I supplied the code checkers directly at the new component, which is called optimize utilization. It's only there to size the members according to utilization. And for example, here I added 5 different checkers in a data tree, and now this optimization runs for each of these checkers separately. And we see, for example, that this frame here under given loads results in different variants according to the code. So for Eurocode 3, for example, I get a total mass of 7.3 tons, whereas for IHA, I get a slightly higher value. Yes, and these code checkers, they work also for determining the utilization of a component of an element. So like here, which is so to say the twin of the optimized cross-section component. And what's also new is that it's now possible to supply design plugins written in C# with which you can define your own cross-section designer, so to say, which is then fully integrated in the Karamba UI for cross-section optimization, also for determining the utilization of an element. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, it's not yet part of the current release. We plan to have a first round of alpha testing, so to say. So if you are interested in testing out this new feature, please write to us, and then we will give you early access to this feature. The second part of this, because in the old cross-section optimizer, there was a combination of utilization optimization and displacement optimization, and this is now split into two parts. And the second part is then an optimizer for deformations, which is then, so to say, the second step after the utilization optimization. Yeah, thank you very much. So, Matthew, I hand over to you again.
Yes, as Clemens said, we are now opening up the cross-section checker for testing. I'm just going to, I think we already posted a link in the chat, but for anyone who's interested to sign up to test out the new features that this new cross-section checker that Clemens was just showing, please follow the link and we will then send you the necessary package files so that you can actually test it out. And then we will, once we have gathered the feedback and your input, we will then hopefully release it in the next coming months as well. I think that's it for us from our side in terms of what we wanted to share with everyone today. We are very excited to show these new features to everyone. And I think if there are no other, we just now want to open up to any questions from anyone in the audience, and we can also address them here. Or if you wanted to find out a bit more on some of the features that we also showed today, please feel free to write in the chat and we can try to address these questions as well. See the chat now.
So actually there are already some questions here. Many actually. I think, Sara, there is a question for you. So I'm wondering if we could use the prompts to model different materials such as polymers. Okay, actually that's more an engineering question. I mean, the skill for the calculation report is our first try at integrating LLMs into Karamba3D. I mean, with respect to polymers, probably it would be possible, yeah, by using a tool like Raven or Ant AI. This should actually be already possible. I mean, what we plan for Karamba is in the not so far future, I hope, to add an MCP so that LLMs can directly communicate with Karamba, and then maybe also include more and more functionality into this result retrieval component that we already have. So with respect to materials, it's probably already possible with other Grasshopper AI components. The demo uses Opus 4.7. Will it also work with Sonnet, Haiku, or other models?
Yeah,
Sara, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I already answered it in the chat. It works with all the models. Opus just happened to be the one that I had selected at the moment, but it works with the other ones as well. Also with other AI systems, like you could use it with ChatGPT, with Gemini. I haven't tested it with DeepSeek, but any AI which can read a text file can follow the instructions. Because essentially it's a text file with a set of instructions which will be followed by the assistant.
Thank you. Then I see there's one question regarding Speckle and our further development with Speckle. I think, Matthew, you are the Speckle expert. Do you want to share your thoughts?
Speckle is still currently supported in Karamba, but currently it's still only the version 2, which is the legacy mode. We have been waiting from Speckle side to actually get some updates on what, on if and how the schema should be adapted for version 3. But everything still works for the version 2 version of Speckle. And I think the reason why you didn't see it's because Clemens has let's say a testing version of Karamba. So there's often different features that are there or hidden because of just the version that we have internally. But it should be enabled in the public version of Karamba currently. We just have to have the version 2 Speckle Grasshopper connector installed. But we will be assessing how and if we migrate to version 3 in the future. But now with AI, this seems to be quite much more promising and easier.
Thank you. There's one question regarding licensing. Will you be providing a new educational license for this? There's no new license necessary for using the new features. It's a regular update. Then there's a question, what about creating custom polygon cross-sections? Is there going to be any further development? Yes, there will be. Actually, I'm currently working on including non-symmetric cross-sections in the C++ part of Karamba. And when this is finished, we will be able to include also thin-walled cross-sections, arbitrary polygonal cross-sections, and so on. So we have been working on this already. So the C# part is actually already there. And I hope that in the upcoming weeks that this can then be achieved. But first we need to finish the work, or I need to finish the work on the code checkers. And then I will be able to focus on the cross-section topic. All right. I think, did we forget any questions? Yeah. If there are no more questions, then I would like to thank you all for your attention. And I think we will make these meetups on a more regular basis to keep you informed about what we are doing. And also you are invited to post feature requests on our GitHub website, project website. And yeah. Matthew, any last words? Okay. Then
no, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for everyone. And
thank you very much for your attention, and see you.
See you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.